And good evening. Toronto police officers have been quietly staging a job action for the past month as emergency response times reach what the union calls a crisis level. But that very work to rule by frontline officers may be compounding the time it takes to deal with everything from assaults and break-and-enter calls to suicide calls.
A threatened suicide where a girl was going to jump off a bridge was on the board for 5 hours and 30 minutes. Hydrobox explosion, beanie impending for over 20 hours, harassment for 8 hours.
Screenshots of the dispatch board show a snapshot of recent days where it has taken hours for police to respond to domestic assault, suicide threats, even gun calls.
Here, 15 calls impending, a robbery, no units, or sorry, an assault just occurred, 2 hours and 23 minutes, person with a gun, 2 hours and 15. Somebody needs medical assistance, emotionally disturbed person, 1 hour and 47, and an overdose, 44 minutes.
Chief Mark Saunders is spearheading the first major overhaul of policing in decades, and the union claims officers are leaving in droves and that overworked, burned-out cops simply can't keep up with the calls.
Last Friday in 52 Division, we had 6 officers for all of the downtown area. So they're coming in and the calls are all backed up and pending. So now they're put in a queue to get an officer to respond.
But there might be another factor at play. Frontline officers are essentially staging a job action by refusing to race through call after call, by following by-the-book union break rules, and by not using their personal cell phones to speed up their jobs.
We want them not to be going call to call, not to be taking shortcuts. We don't want to make a broken system work.
Listening to you, I'm hearing that there is a quiet job action that is taking place right now. There's a quiet attempt by the cop on the beat to say, you know what, we're not plowing through all this stuff because this is the reality of what we're facing, and we need you to know at 40 College.
I would say that is correct, but I wouldn't call it a job action.
What would you call it?
I would say it's a bunch of concerned officers who are concerned about public safety and serving the public.
And what would be the difference between calling it a job action?
Well, I'm just thinking it's an appropriate action.
We specifically asked Toronto Police and the Mayor's office whether they knew about this union-led action and if they were concerned about response times. Both sent statements that didn't even respond to the questions. Mark Pugash at Toronto Police saying, "We experienced one of the busiest 36-hour periods in recent memory. The public would expect us to deal with the most serious calls and get to the less serious calls as soon as we could. That is what we did." The Mayor's statement talks about the need for shift changes and says, "I'm committed to modernizing the Toronto Police Service so we continue to be the safest major city in North America." The union leader is threatening to ramp up job action and says his frontline officers now have a new mantra.
The first words out of their mouth, "Sorry it took so long." That's the new, slogan of the Toronto Police Service.
This union leader says he's hoping to meet with the chief and the police board chair in coming days. If they don't do that, they will be planning what McCormick says will be a more visible job action by rank-and-file cops.